To die.
Yeah, I think we're all gonna get sick. Is what it.
It's a Bitcoin podcast. The only one that's making your money is you. Listen to the Bitcoin podcast. So hold on and listen to the Bitcoin podcast.
Whoa.
One episode left. I'm gonna miss that song.
I am too.
I'm gonna miss all of the songs. The first one that we had that was like, "Welcome to the Bitcoin podcast."
No, that
We're
one was
just two guys. That's what it said. It said we're just two. So it literally was a 14-hour time period between when we got the intro cut
Yeah.
and when Corey actually agreed to do the show.
Uh-huh.
So it was just gonna be me and Cello. And so the
Okay.
intro for years said just two guys. And it was always like, this is actually three of us. Right after it started. So anyway, guys, welcome to the Bitcoin podcast. I'm the host that talks first, D.
And I'm the third host, Jesse Broke.
Whoa, you got sound like Bane coming in there today. And I'm the
Yeah, it's
third
all the
host.
coughing from being sick like 2 weeks ago, and it's still hitting, just like you, just like Corey, just like everybody in the world.
Yeah. I got a sickness going on. My toddler's sick and he's been coughing in my mouth, so we all know how that is.
Nice.
Just like the movie Contagion, or
monkeypox is coming. Like that's the new flavor.
yeah, there's the people are like, the way they're describing is like, it feels like the devil's heating up nails and stabbing me, and I'm like, that's
In your genital area too.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
All right. So what are we talking
Yeah,
about today?
we're talking about Vitalik today, buddy.
All right.
We're talking about Satoshi Nakamoto Jr. Everybody's autistic. I can't say that. That's a rude thing to say. I don't think he is that. I think he is a little bit more spectrum-y than the rest of us.
I haven't met him.
I
can't say that.
I've met him. That's all I'm going to do is leave it there. But so Vitalik said something. He's been talking a lot of shit lately. Vitalik, like a couple weeks ago, was talking trash about Michael Saylor, this most recent bull market's hero. There's a new hero every bull market. Right now, you can tell that we're not at the bottom of the bear until you start seeing a new hero. Right? It's like superhero shows. You're like,
Okay.
God, another one. Yep, we're gonna have a new hero in the new bull market. We don't know who it is yet. When that person starts to kind of like, I don't know, weed their way through the Twitter sphere, that's when we know we're bottoming in this bear market and we've got a new hero. It was Michael Saylor. But anyways, Vitalik called Michael Saylor. He said he was like, what did he say? At least you probably know. He said something like, Michael Saylor, you're a twat. No, I'm kidding. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. I just wanted to see your face.
Wait, so what's the why are we focusing on Vitalik being more, I guess, Twitter aggro?
Why?
Why is that relevant to crypto as a whole?
I don't think it, if a cryptocurrency and a network are made well, then it doesn't matter who made it, right? It's irrelevant.
I don't know about that. I think that only works for Bitcoin.
That only works for Bitcoin because Bitcoin had the blessing of laying low for years before anybody cared about it.
I feel like nobody knows what will happen if Vitalik becomes less neutral, kind of, in his
extreme.
Stance. Yeah. Okay.
Nobody knows what happens, but
Ethereum
that's
is
kind of a good
apolitical,
thing,
right?
Yes.
That's what Ethereum is.
Yes.
For a reason.
Yes, it is apolitical, but at the same time, doesn't that leave room for it to be not that not what's the word I'm looking for when somebody like takes something and starts using for its unintended purpose?
Appropriated for an alternative purpose. I don't know.
I don't know. Procreation's more like
Misappropriated. Maybe?
doing the hibbity bibbity, but misappropriated. Yeah,
What-
cohorted. Another word, cohort.
Uh, co-opted. Is that the word? you're looking for?
Co-op has some good connotations.
A
But
cohort is a group of people, right?
I think so.
Cohorted is. I don't think it. Cohort is not a verb.
Hold on, let's Google
It's a
this.
noun. Co-opted is like taken over.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is co-op. Co-op. Yeah, cohort is a group of people. You're absolutely right. It's it's often used derogatory. Young Jack arrived with 3 of his cohorts. You know,
Okay. I don't know if that's true, but okay.
that's what Google just told me.
I mean, like
Yes,
I've seen cohort used in the academic sense. Like there's a new cohort coming in the curriculum of blank, like the
yeah,
cohort of students or,
I feel you.
yeah.
Yes, if something is apolitical, I think it leaves a lot of room for something to be co-opted. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
Ethereum is supposed to be apolitical. Of course, it's a quote unquote technology. What is technology? I shouldn't say quote unquote. That's rude. That was rude to devs.
I don't know that
everywhere.
it means anything to like it is a
No,
technology. It's just
devs have
agnostic to
feelings.
whatever purpose. It's just a tool, right?
Yeah,
But to your point,
you're saying
I
it's
think
like a
you're getting
hammer.
at something. Like it's being
Yeah,
co-opted by who?
I don't know how to blow my
Okay.
nose. I think I am getting under the weather. Oh.
Gonna need some Fanta. Is that what you recommend?
No, it's actually Doritos fruit punch, Mexican fruit
Oh,
punch soda. Yeah,
Doritos. Okay.
it'll get you right.
For
But
everybody listening.
yeah, for everybody listening, this show's brought to you by Doritos Mexican fruit punch soda. You can find it in the Mexican food aisle in your grocery store. It might be called Latina Foods, and
Why wouldn't it just be in like the normal soda section?
it's sometimes not there.
Oh, really?
It's not there,
Okay.
and you've got to search for it
Got it.
because it's not soda; it's Mexican soda.
If I go to my local tienda, I should be able to find it though, right? No
Oh,
discrimination.
Tienda for sure,
Got it.
for sure. Target, not so much. You're not gonna find it at Target, but anyways, Ethereum, it is supposed to be an apolitical tool, but at the end of the day, you can't take politics out of things no matter how hard you try. I think you
You
can't.
can't take politics out of it.
No, because look, if it gets big enough and there's enough people with money in it and proof of stake works, and then you've got all these random quote unquote pseudonymous addresses, like how much Ethereum does Coinbase have? How many nodes are they going to be? How many validators are they going to be running? How much shit can they vote on? Right?
But
There
that's
was a
not
guy.
political, right? That's just who has power in the network, right? That doesn't
Anytime
mean
you introduce votes, it gets
yeah.
political. It doesn't matter. You could have a small company of, you know,
Okay,
a
so
few
let me ask
dozen
you this
people.
question. When if you say nothing can be apolitical, what is Ethereum's political stance?
Anarchy, bro.
Is it really? You think that?
No, not at all.
Yeah, so what is their stance then, realistically?
I don't know, man. Dude, I
I don't
feel
think they
like
have a
it's a word.
stance.
I feel like it's a combination of very long and large words that poli sci majors would know and
Yeah.
argue about with you in backyard barbecues. And they're like, actually, Stalin wasn't socialist. Stalin was actually a. And I'm like, oh God, here we go.
I was told that you need to do more than surface level read Wikipedia on a political ideology to be able to say you truly subscribe to it. That's
So you
what's
got to
like.
read books then? Is
You
what I'm
have
saying?
to be immersed in what that ideology means. So, like for instance, if you read like Wikipedia on crypto anarchy, it just says something along the lines of you are for the protection of individual rights such as privacy, freedom of speech, blah blah blah. And it sounds very like um very straightforward, and it makes sense, and it's like that sounds like what American citizens should have.
Mhm.
And that sounds like America, but like apparently you're not supposed to just say, "Oh yeah, that makes sense," and then like slap that label on yourself, because that does you wrong if you do that. Because there's like a spectrum of how crazy people can be. Like for instance, if you say,
Yes.
"Oh, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican," apparently people will label you. People who don't know you will think you're like the far extreme of that whatever
Is
label.
Ethereum Democrat or Republican?
I have
If you had
no
to vote,
idea.
if
I
you had to, if you had a gun, I got a
I would
gun
say
against your head.
Democrat, but
I
then
got
I
a
would say
gun against your head
Republican.
right
I
now,
don't know.
bro.
I have no idea, dude. You know,
Answer.
Vitalik
Answer the
supports
question.
all pronouns, so
Yeah.
Democrat. No Republican would ever do that.
There we go. Ethereum is a democratic tool. It's a tool of Democrats. Quote that, Alicia. Put it in the title. We're going viral.
Oh my god.
Ethereum's for the Dems. Stupid libs. Bitcoin's for the Republicans.
Actually,
Hardcore,
that is
big,
kind of funny.
schlonged
Yeah.
Republican.
Isn't it like alt-right, like Bitcoin? Like it's
It's
got those
pretty out
connotations
there.
nowadays.
When I went to a Bitcoin Maxi conference speaking as the middle ground guy in between
Yeah.
Bitcoin and quote unquote
Good luck with that.
shitcoins. And I made a lot of great points, and in the Bitcoin audience, they were like, "Yeah, but Bitcoin," and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then they were talking about flat Earth,
Oh
and they
yeah.
were talking
Okay.
about
That's
all.
exciting.
Yeah, it got intense, and
What about aliens and
then
who built the
Wayne and I had.
pyramids?
Yeah, Wayne and I
Yeah.
had to like step to the side and like look at each other like these guys are a little bit
Oh, you met up with
intense,
Wayne
right?
there?
Yeah, it was
That's
great.
pretty cool.
Anytime you go to Dallas, Jesse
Yeah.
and Corey, if you're listening, Wayne will be awesome to us. I don't
Wayne
know.
is
I guess
Wayne is
we
OG awesome.
I guess we changed his life by talking very casually about crypto 7 years. But anyway, so Vitalik, we're supposed to be talking about crypto here. So Vitalik, well, first of all, what I want to say is Vitalik did not call Michael Saylor a twat. He actually called him a punk ass bitch. No, I'm kidding. No, he didn't say that either. He called him a
This is
clown.
not the show to listen for if you want actual news.
Oh yeah. He called him a clown. And if you think I'm giving you news, then you should be less lazy and go read your own news. Like, listen to NPR. What's wrong with you, goon? All right, so he called Michael Saylor a clown, as to which Michael Saylor was like, "I'm not a clown," and that's pretty much how all arguments go. And that's it. But it's just kind of strange that Vitalik is so active lately because he's been on the low. He's been quiet for a while. He's chief scientist of the Ethereum Foundation, which is basically a title that says I only talk when I want to talk. Right? There's other titles like CEO where you have to talk. Like people are like, answer these questions, and you're like, I don't want to, and they're like, well, I'm gonna write a story about how you didn't answer my questions. Screw you. So you better answer these questions. But chief scientist is like, I'm not talking to you until I'm ready to talk to you. So him talking is it's got weight to it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it's not a light punch in Street Fighter, it's a heavy punch. It's one of those hooks, you know.
Did you see Evo?
I didn't, but I was excited that it's isn't it like trying to make a comeback? And then trying
So
to make a little
Street
comeback?
Fighter 5 is on its
Mhm.
way out. And so that was the last Evo for Street Fighter 5. And there was this kid who got into the losers bracket pretty early, and then he just chomped through all of the Japanese god tier like dynasty superiority of Street Fighter 5. Just plowed through all of them, like 3-1, 3-0'd, like some of major names.
I could beat him. No kidding.
Yeah, like Daigo, and God, who else? I don't really keep track of Street Fighter, but I was watching it and it was making me excited.
Yeah.
So, but he lost to a guy from Japan eventually. Yeah, so there were like four of them, four Japanese people in the finals of Street Fighter 5 at Evo. And the second and third place people were from Pakistan. Surprising,
Really?
right?
They're allowed to play video games?
Didn't even know. I
I
didn't even know
they
they
were
had
allowed to play
gamers.
video games.
Apparently in
Hmm.
2019. Anyway, so yeah, Street Fighter. I just wanted to talk about
I feel
that.
like me, you, and Corey should get a fighting game that we can all play
I don't play
relatively
fighting games.
well. And that's
I
how we
suck.
solve disputes.
Can we play
Smash Brothers?
PvP in Elden Ring?
You don't want the heat, bro.
I don't think I want the heat.
You don't want.
Okay, let's pick a different game.
No, I'll go for Elden Ring, but I've been locking some hours in the old Elden Ring. I'm
Okay,
actually
never mind. I
upset.
take that back.
I had to take some weeks off because of life, but my clan is begging me to come back because I've got the magic that gets the job done. If you know what I'm saying, that's not a sex joke. I know you guys have grown to know me over the years, but that was a magic joke, literal magic with a wizard's dick. All right, so what Vitalik is also saying, and why he is in our show notes, because we ain't too proud to beg anymore. We're just gonna tell you what's in the show notes. Is he's talking about the whole Tornado Cash thing, and if you don't know what Tornado Cash is, it was basically like it was cash on Ethereum, and it wasn't really it was quote unquote untraceable, right? So you could make your own money as long as you put the Ethereum in there and you print your little Tornado Cash, do your Tornado Cash thing, and they got sanctioned by the U.S. government, and they said, "Hey, you can't do this anymore. You can't just let people have their own money. What's wrong with you?" So
Wait, he didn't say you. Wait.
No. That's not what Vitalik said. That's what the U.S. government said. What Vitalik said is, "I'll out myself as someone who has used Tornado Cash to donate to this exact cause. The cost is Jeff.eth, popular guy, I guess. Let me see how many follows this guy has. 10,000 followers. So he's out here doing the Lord's work. Wanting to donate to Ukraine is a great example of a valid need for financial privacy. If the government where you live is in full support, you might not want Russian government to have full details of your actions." So Vitalik is saying that's a case for something like Tornado Cash. I want to help this government. I don't want that other government to know that I'm helping them for obvious reasons, like I care about living. So I'm gonna donate to them using this thing that makes my money anonymous, and they can't trace it to me, right? So I don't know. Tornado Cash is pretty dope. They made a spliggity splash back in 2019, 2020, somewhere in there at a DevCon before COVID. So it had to be 2019. Bless you.
Alicia wants to make it clear that what you said was the U.S. government banned Tornado Cash as a cryptocurrency.
Didn't
but
they
in
like
fact,
sanction it?
it's a mixer,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, it mixes your transactions in with a bunch of transactions, so it kind of
Yeah.
like obfuscates your action.
You're washing your money. You're obfuscating the original address where it came from, the source of the funds. Yeah, absolutely.
You can't say things like washing, Jesse. That's so illegal sounding.
It is illegal to wash money.
It doesn't just sound illegal.
Wait, is it illegal to wash crypto? Though?
Yeah, it's illegal to wash money, bro. You can't wash money.
But okay, crypto is money.
Hell yeah! On the Bitcoin
But I thought ETH
podcast,
was a
it is.
utility.
What's a utility? And that utility is money and things.
I mean, it can be exchanged for money, but it also powers Ethereum. So like, are you washing money when you send Ethereum to Tornado Cash?
You are kind
You
of like
are?
the
Okay.
same way you were washing money when you sent it to what's that called? Bitcoin Zaps, Bitty Zaps. No, I'm kidding. Alicia's so much more knowledgeable than I am about.
Alicia keeps up with the space.
Alicia, you are deep in this space. You are deep in it. Bless you, Chop.
Yeah, thank you. I'm coughing.
It's all good. Same thing.
All right, cool. Didn't know if it applied.
There was a Bitcoin mixer. It was really big on the dark net. You sent your Bitcoin there, get it wiggity washed, bring it back to you. Nobody knows. That also got hit with some harsh words from governments. I mean, look, I rest my case that crypto is just creating last bosses that are impenetrable. Like the government now, like even since the government has been saying, that's kind
I
of
mean, I
interesting.
called out USDC was making backroom deals with the US government, and it's like it's the US government stable coin. Like I told everybody that. I
You
was
and I are
calling
on
it
the
out.
same team there, dude. We
I
could
was like,
do a
I was in
fusion
the
dance.
Avalanche text channel. I was like, hey guys, USDC is totally USD coin.
Fusion
Like
dance, man,
actually
Jesse. Fusion
support with
dance.
it's we're on the wrong side. You'd have to do the other way.
What are you talking about? I'm mirrored.
I'm
You,
on my screen. You're pointing away from me.
oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
So like I can. This makes sense. Yeah.
We're both pointing the
There
same
it is.
way on my screen. Shit, that looked bad. Anyways, I'm right there with you. I think Coinbase is trying as hard as it can to be a part of the Federal Reserve in like the next 20 years.
Oh yeah. No, totally. I mean, look at BlackRock. Like BlackRock wouldn't have made Coinbase its partner if, you know, they
Mhm.
they weren't about to like inject a ton of money
That
after
government money.
like I think what do you think? Do you think the bottom is in or do you think the bottom is going to come
Um,
in later?
the bottom is going to come in later. BlackRock was just getting the infrastructure
Oh
ready.
yeah, they're totally going to tank the whole thing. USD
But
coin's going to get yeah.
BlackRock, what was I gonna say? Do you think here's something? Here's a meta thought. Here's a clippable. Alicia clip,
Oh
clippity
my god.
clip. No, do you think BlackRock is the government's mixer?
Whoa.
Deep, right? Deep. That shit deep.
I don't know, and I don't think that's the case. I think
I don't think so
Bitcoin
either.
is everybody's mixer.
It'd be ridiculous if I just got sniped right now by everyone for,
Oh my
for
god.
saying things like that.
I don't
So, anyways, yeah. So, Vitalik, he's talking about Tornado Cash. Tornado Cash is a mixer. A lot of people use it for good, but
some people use it for bad, like
some
North
people
Korea.
use it for bad. So here's something that we have here in the show notes here, and that is that some researchers have discovered a critical flaw in the Bitcoin Lightning Network.
Who even uses that?
That was a good pause, man. That was a good
Okay.
pause. Me and you, like peanut butter and jelly. I don't know who uses that, but I want to read this flaw. So, the University of Illinois, they've discovered a vulnerability in the most popular second layer scaling protocol of the Lightning Network. Oh, that's a stretch.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Cosimo Squanchi. What a fucking name right there. Listen to these names. Cosimo Squanchi and
It's probably
Anastasia.
Cosimo. It's probably Italian. It's an Italian first name.
I
Cosimo.
think it is Cosimo Squanchi and Anastasios Sideripoulos.
I feel like you're really butchering Italian names.
Hey, I'm giving it a shot though.
It's true.
I'm actually upset with the country of Italy right now. They totally rejected Domino's Pizza.
Correct.
Yeah. I
They
feel
didn't
like
want the competition.
there's this weird thing happening in this day and age where your internet is only curated for you. So when you go out in public and start talking about the shit that you saw on the internet, everybody's like, weird motherfucker over here. Fuck is he looking at? And so like I was literally talking to my brother earlier today and I was like, bro, did you read that Domino's got kicked out of Italy? And he was like, no. Why would I ever care about that? And I was like, I mean, I saw that article like 5 times on my feed, and he's like, "Yeah, that's not a everybody thing."
I
I don't
wonder
know
what
why.
keywords or whatever search terms, like what did you do to get that on your feed?
No idea, but I saw 5 variations of the same ad, and now I know in my head that Domino's opened 38 stores in Italy and is closing all them shits down because Italy is like your shitty American pizza is not gonna fly out here. But
Interesting. Is that
anyways,
Google? Is that Google's feed?
no, it was like Reddit, so
Okay.
like that makes it even more weird.
Interesting.
So a zombie attack occurs when a set of nodes becomes unresponsive, locking the funds in any channel connected to those nodes. Ouch! Whoa, that's a zinger. In order to defend against a zombie attack, honest nodes must clear their channels and exit the network. This requires high transaction fees to settle onto Bitcoin's base layer blockchain. The researchers called zombie attacks a form of vandalism, and it renders Lightning Network channels unusable and congests Bitcoin's throughput. Ah, man.
Why
Zombie
aren't we
attacks.
talking about the Ethereum 2 merge?
I mean, we can. The show just started, bro.
I mean, we're like halfway through. I feel like that's juicier than like Lightning Network scaling having issues. Like,
I mean,
I
if
don't
you
know.
want to talk about the juice, we can talk about the juice.
Let's talk about things that are interesting.
All right. To you or to everyone?
Okay, true. All right, let's talk about the Bitcoin
No,
scaling.
I want to talk about what's interesting to you. This is our show. We do
Let's
what
see.
we want.
What is interesting to me?
The merge.
I don't know anything. Like, I don't know how. Like, there's a lecture learn up that was given internal to status about how the Nimbus client is going to functionally, I guess, go live. And I wish I could watch that discussion because I have no idea on the technical details of how it works.
Mm.
Do you?
Um,
Do you have Ethereum that you have put towards?
I do.
Okay. Do you know how any of it works, or just do it through Coinbase? Or
I do not.
okay.
Okay, let me take that back. You know how, like, this is the way I'm starting to feel about crypto because I've been in it so long. Do you still remember the stuff that you studied when you were like a bachelor? When you were a super bachelor, like back in college?
No,
It's gone,
absolutely
right? Because you're not using
absolutely
it.
gone. Yeah, of
That's
course.
the way that's how I know that like this switch to hashing it out is a good thing for me, because all the stuff I super new about the tech is just me being intuitive now, because it's like I haven't studied that stuff in a while.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with like ETH 2.0 is something I was hard in the paint on back in like 2017, 2016. So now it's like,
You know who would know, and who we might be able to bring on?
Dr. Betty.
Joe. Joe is
Joe?
watching right now. Joe probably knows. He's probably like
Joe, you in the hizzy right now?
trying to game the ETH2 transition with hex stuff.
That's because I am in the construct, Joe. What you're looking at is just a sequence of events that are converging amongst a summation of divergences. You yourself are just film being developed by the randomization of the chaotic fluidity of light.
Is that the actual like quote from the movie?
Concordedly, vis-a-vis. No, I have no idea what
It
the
sounded like at the
architect
beginning,
said. I've
but
practiced being the architect quite a bit because
and
I'm me, and I was like, man, what if the architect were black? I could play a black architect. Like, I'm just, those are the thoughts that run through my head. But
I'm gonna give a link to Joe, see if he wants to come on.
you can't even want to. We can talk about Atomize.
I don't want to talk about Atomize.
Oh shit, Joe. Jesse just chat on your shit. Wait, hold on. I think we could do the fusion if we do this. No? Okay. We're
No,
gonna stop trying to
I'm messaging Joe.
fusion dance.
What are some hot topics in crypto?
We got them in the show notes, bro. Bring up the show notes.
Alicia, do you know?
Bring up the show notes. They're right there, right?
Alicia, do you wanna jump? Yeah. What do you know about the space?
Right now, it is the merger, because people are finding out that once they stake everything,
Yeah,
they haven't established the next step where you can pull your stake out eventually. That's not a function.
yeah,
That's
in
when
like
I lost
1.5,
interest
right?
too, Jess.
Yeah, but if they're staking something, right, and you want to get your return investment, or you want to pull
That's
out,
why Lido exists. That's why liquid staking exists for Ethereum, right?
yeah, but
TE exists for that very reason, because people knew it was a one way in, no way out, and so they wanted a way out. So you have these providers giving liquidity for staked ETH.
Yes, they're giving liquidity, but it's not actually the original like ETH.
Sure,
Yeah.
So it's
they can use it
counterparty
like the
risk.
real ETH.
It's
Yeah,
counterparty.
it's counterparty. And given that all these bridges and all these like little exchanges, big exchanges, a lot of stuff is collapsing, people are hesitant now to put
It's
their
not passing the smell test, Alicia.
I'm just letting you know it's a little bit of chatter about the second part of what they're supposed to do. Because they're eventually supposed to allow you to eventually, after the merger,
Gotta call it the merge, Alicia.
the merge. Well, it's the merger. Because also the miners are pushing back because they're not going to have any power anymore.
Yeah, they're gonna have ETH Classic 2.0.
Yes. And there's a thinking that there might be 3 chains.
Hey, I got a 24 count of popcorn ready for this shit. The Boy
Yeah.
Scouts got me, but it's good timing because I will be popping some
Look,
popcorn.
When the merge does occur, it's going to be the dominant chain. It is. But it's not going to go without some hiccups. I don't think it's going to be the mess that was SegWit in Bitcoin.
And SegWit was fun. I got so many Bitcoin like versions, variations.
It's very
yeah.
Gold, Bitcoin Platinum, Bitcoin Super, Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision, Bitcoin whatever
think-
else. Jeez.
Let me see if I can find the site. There's the one that tracks all the Bitcoin forks. I think there's up to 100.
And Coinbase kept it all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Coinbase kept all of it.
It's like the dirtiest known secret in all of crypto that Coinbase is like, we're sitting on billions of dollars of forked Bitcoin and we're not going to give it back. We're going to keep that by both.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they only gave like what Bitcoin Cash and that was it the first time around.
Get in here, Joe.
Oh, Joe coming in from the left turnbuckle. Oh,
I love your headphones. They're awesome.
But Tornado Cash is like the big buzz in Ethereum right now because
Right.
it's causing a lot of ripple waves because there was a lot of services that plugged into Tornado Cash.
Tell
It
us,
was-
Can you hear
Joe.
me?
You're on
Yeah.
episode 399, Joe. One
Like,
of the
you could-
last.
The second to
could
last one.
You could put your MetaMask and you could connect it to Tornado Cash. That's a
Never
function
gonna die.
that MetaMask now has to turn off for U.S. residents. So
What's that? Counterparty.
Tell us about all of the problems that exist in the Ethereum ecosystem, Joe.
I like your enthusiasm.
How you're about to
for
game the
this.
merge.
I don't know if I'm going to game the merge, but yeah, to what I think you were talking about it before. There is, and also Alicia just touched on it. Although I was going in and out, so I didn't hear everything Alicia said, but you're going to have basically this ETH-W chain, which is the ETH proof of work chain, and then you're going to have the ETH chain, which is the chain that is everybody who's staked their ETH for ETH2. So I think that the ETH staking started on like December 2nd or December 5th of 2020 or something like that. So it's almost been 2 years where people have basically locked up their ETH for the future proof of stake ETH chain. But to what Alicia was saying, there's no code after the merge to take your ETH out. So once you stake your ETH, it's locked in there effectively forever until somebody writes some code in the Geth client to say end stake and give me my stake back.
Is that going to happen like before the purge or after the purge?
After, bro. You're rolling the dice, homie.
The speculation, I listened to a couple of podcasts from some of the ETH devs, and I also listened to some of the ETH dev calls, and they say it's going to happen within 6 to 12 months after the merge is complete. But I mean, ETH was supposed to switch to proof of stake 7 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how long is it really going to happen then or not? I mean, you're basically, I think somebody brought it up earlier, you're relying on them to make that change. There's no individual person is going to be able to end their stakes, basically. So it's
How
like
does the liquid ETH staking work? Like, do you have to stake ETH through like Lido or something, or?
Yeah. So with Ethereum, so I think, a lot of us are familiar with Avalanche and how Avalanche staking works, right? So if Alicia has enough ETH, if she has enough Avalanche, if she has 2,000 Avalanche, she can set up a node, and then all three of us could delegate our stake to Alicia. We still own, and let's say we each have 2,000 Avalanche. So we could all delegate our stake to Alicia. Alicia could run the node, but she's actually running the servers, and then we all collectively get yield. In that instance, we all still own our private keys. We all still own our stakes. In ETH, there is no delegated staking right now. You would have to send your Avalanche to Alicia and then hope that she sends it back in the future. Right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
I didn't know that there was no delegated staking in ETH.
yeah, it's not delegated. It's just regular staking.
And that's where a little bit of bubbling of contention is coming because of what has happened throughout this year. All of these different bridges collapsing, the smart contracts, all these different services. A lot of them are Ethereum based or associated with Ethereum, and people are like,
yeah,
maybe not, or maybe not now.
So there have been a couple of companies that have already lost a lot of ETH they've been given ETH and then they've lost the keys and lost a ton of ETH already. So there's already been ETH that's been lost in this transition, but it's not a catastrophic amount yet. So, I think people are still willing to go forward with the way it's going. But that once the merge happens, the only thing that happens is that the proof of work chain stops and then the proof of stake chain starts. Nothing else changes. And so your ETH that was locked up is still going to be locked. If you gave it to somebody, they're still going to be holding it. There is the ST ETH, which is kind of like it's kind of like the futures representation of ETH. So you'll be able to redeem that ST ETH on the other side for your ETH to get your ETH back, right? So they should be, ST ETH and ETH should be kind of like one-to-one mirrored. But, I think everything will work out in the end, but it's just a situation where
don't we all?
It's a situation where you're kind of breaking the rules of like why crypto was invented, right? We built this thing so we could get rid of middle people, get rid of counterparty risk, and this transition is just a whole bunch of middlemen and a whole bunch of counterparty risk, like just going off, like red alarm bells are going off everywhere.
All right. I don't know. I've just gestated on crypto for so many years and so much time now. And it's like getting rid of middlemen is never an answer that's a good thing. It's being able to have systems that hold middlemen accountable. That's the good thing, right? Like if I had to have a power plant in my backyard to keep these lights on right here, I would just be broke and in the dark all the time. I would just be like, yeah, I'm not going to figure out electricity. I'm just going to not. I'm just going to be that dude who doesn't have electricity because I'm not trying to figure out how that shit works, man. And like, you've got to have middlemen. You've got to have systems that can hold middlemen accountable. And it's just, I fear that like in the dark rooms of the JP Morgans, they're just like laughing as they're creating these systems on Ethereum and Avalanche, right? They're making it. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to totally just remake banks. And we're just going to put it on that. And people are going to have to use it because we're just going to go to the congressman next week. And we're going to say, hey, people got to use these wallets because these wallets connect to our banks. And that's it. Game over. It's not like game over. It's like we're going to get adoption. It's just not going to look like what we thought it was going to look like. And the options are it's going to be us money versus them money. And like you can use Ethereum, you can go free ball in Ethereum and crypto if you want to, but you're not going to have many options playing there and coming back and trying to buy a house. Like, I mean, I just feel like I feel like it's inevitable, bro. I feel like it's Thanos. I don't know.
I think the systems thing you said is I think key because one of the things that Corey always brings up, and I use this all the time in my examples, is that crypto gives you that optionality to just rely on the system instead of relying on a person. And if another company wants to come in and then be that counterparty that sits between you and the code, then that's fine. You're just trusting that company. And I think we were able to see a good example of this with like Celsius, right? So when Celsius started losing all of its money and couldn't pay back its loans, the first thing that they did was clear out their maker vault. Why? Because if their maker vault gets liquidated, they lose all their money. They would rather freeze customers' funds and not let you withdraw your money and pay back the maker vault and then go into bankruptcy proceedings, because that is on the blockchain, and the code that's written in Maker is not going to say like, oh, well, yeah, we'll give you an extra 5 minutes or an extra day to like pay back your collateral. If the price goes below and somebody presses the button that liquidates Celsius's position, it gets liquidated. There's no discussion, right? And so the system that's designed in that case that's on chain, there's nobody that can really tamper with it unless you tamper with the oracles, but that's not going to happen. Nobody's going to mess with that just to spare Celsius, because somebody has something to gain from there. So it's one of those things where the on-chain interactivity was prioritized by Celsius over the consumer, who they can just go to court and just do all this litigation with and go through bankruptcy proceedings and unwind the business and pay people back in tranches and do the same old world business of going out of business. But you can't do that on chain, right? And so I think we're starting to see, so real DeFi is running just as expected. And you could have watched this whole thing. You could have gone to the Maker Vault preview and the dashboard and just seen Celsius repaying, paying back their full loan, as at the same time they had a logo in the app that said customers' funds are frozen. So there are cases where these systems are actually very resilient, and when people are playing by the rules, whether it's an individual, like myself, or like if any of us are playing and we're just directly interacting with the contract, or it's a company like Celsius or BlockFi or Voyager or anybody else who's interacting with these contracts on chain, they have to follow the same rules we have to follow, and there's really no way around it, right? And I think that's kind of that rule set that to your sake, like that's the system. That system it acts the same way, and it behaves the same whether you're a multi-billion-dollar company or whether you're like you have like $5,000 and you're just testing the thing out.
Yeah.
So one thing that you brought up was MakerDAO and how they have exposure to USDC. Well, you didn't bring this up, but I want to bring this up as a topic, which is how are they going to get rid of their reserves of USDC being at 35%?
I just
so MakerDAO, DAI specifically, is composed
I see what
of
you're saying.
Right, 35% USDC.
I didn't get the whole.
Oh, yeah. So now MakerDAO is in a panic trying to figure out how they can remove that counterparty risk from their reserve. So, I mean, that'll be interesting to watch.
Wait, I thought DAI was just like a pure crypto stable. DAI is not that anymore?
No, it's backed with a basket of assets.
Yep.
And one of those assets is USDC?
Yep.
Yeah, USDC is like 25% or 30% of
35%
the collateral.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that.
When did that happen?
Right.
Crypto's so funky. DAI was supposed to be like the pure crypto stable that didn't need USDC, didn't need those. I don't know, man. Smells like halibut. It might be halibut.
So I wonder if there's any like.
That was a fish joke, Jesse. Just because you're.
Oh, I know halibut.
Oh,
okay, I didn't. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been stable coins and crypto have been an interesting journey, whether they're over collateralized stable coins, programmatically or human generated, right? Like human issued and then human retracted, like something like Tether, where somebody's just pressing a button and then pressing another button, or something like USDC, which is very similar to Tether. It's just that it might be 100% collateralized versus fractionally reserved. It's been very interesting to see because, if you want to say that you have a dollar, the only real authority that can say that you have a dollar is the United
Circle.
States government. Well, no, it's the government. It's the United States government.
Who has
the
a
treasury.
backroom deal with the U.S. government. Like I said in the
Yeah.
Avalanche channel, I was like, 100% there's a backroom deal between Circle and the U.S. government.
Well, the government controls all that stuff, right? The dollar is their money.
Well, I
so-
don't think people realized that USDC was counterparty risk, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain circles where they talk about this, and they'll say,
Oh, really?
yeah, where people that are paying attention, they know that there's admin keys in Circle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they can turn off coins. So this is probably a revelation to a lot of people, though. But
Crypto's getting funky, man.
I saw the reserves of USDC when it was spreading to all of the chains like Algorand. I saw that reserve and it said something like 26 trillion or some stupid large number. And I was like, wait a minute. They're making a supply which they haven't minted yet. And when I looked at their ability to claw back, it's enabled. And I'm like, okay, I see. And that's what, at least for me, I wasn't in any rooms where anybody was making that clear to me, and I just saw that, and I was like, okay, Circle's definitely counterparty. Well, USDC from Circle is definitely counterparty risk.
yeah, I mean, I think if you're using like TUSD or USDC or any of these tokens, they're gonna have to have the ability to control the transactions. I don't think there's a way to get around that.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any stable asset in crypto that isn't collateralized by anything else? There isn't, right?
I mean, Luna wasn't, but we saw how that went.
Wait,
I guess
Luna,
it was
Luna
collateralized.
It was collateralized. It was under collateralized.
It was
Yeah.
it was collateralized by Terra
Avalanche,
and then by Bitcoin.
Terra and Bitcoin,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. I still, there are a few people that I've heard have ideas for a stable coin that is over collateralized by some asset. But
Yeah.
I think probably the most stable thing that I've seen so far is Liquidity, right?
Okay.
So Liquidity is collateralized by Ethereum. And it's one of the only stable coins that's just collateralized by ETH. So you can't put anything else in there. And Liquidity has been fine. The reserves dropped when the price of ETH dropped, but it has, it just exists purely on chain. It's 100% collateralized by ETH. You can put in ETH and get out. I think is it USDL. I think it's USDL.
Wow. That is,
which is like
I've never heard of that one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's got. If you go look at their site, they have like liquidity.org. They have like 50 different front ends. Yeah, there's $600 million of value locked in there right now. Anybody can create a front end. You can just it's LUSD. Okay, yeah. So you put in ETH and you get LUSD back. So it's liquidity.org. So that's probably, and it has to be collateralized at 110%. So it's just an over collateralized stable coin, but it's over collateralized with the native token on the chain. So it doesn't have to go anywhere. You don't have to take value out of the system and rely on some third party thing to figure out what the value is.
I have to quote Colin on all this is like, what's the point of it? Is this for traders to have fun?
I mean, we're talking about a stable coin, right? Like what is a stable coin?
Well, I know what I'm saying is like,
collateralized.
Why would you want to put your token and take a loan out of some other token unless you just wanted to go have some fun money or some liquidity to go buy something? But there's really nothing to buy. You're just
asking
trading.
why stable coins exist?
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking like, all right, let's. I'll just try to stay in the world I know for a second, not that deep DeFi shit, just the real world. I go get a loan. And it's like, oh, I see an opportunity here. I need liquidity that I don't have. I'm going to borrow somebody else's, take the opportunity, and just pay this premium until the opportunity hits, and then I'm paying back the loan. Right? That's kind of like how you gamble in the real world. Oh, there's something costs 35K. I think it's going to make me 150K. I don't have 35K. I'm going to go get 35K, pay premium on that, buy it, hope that it goes up to what I thought it was, sell it. Now I can pay back the 35K, and I keep 150K minus, 35K plus the premiums that I paid.
Yeah.
But I'm using it to go buy something. So like in crypto, what is there to buy with other crypto except for other crypto or NFTs? So are people like taking out
I know people
loans?
use that for yield farming strategies to get more yield, but then unwinding that takes time. And so like if the asset,
I mean, you could use it for a bunch of stuff, right? What you're saying, right? You could take the stable coin and then take it out of the system, right? So you could trade your USDL for USDC or GUSD or whatever and go to an exchange and pull it out. And then you can go buy an asset in the real world, right? Let's say you have like $500,000 of ETH and you want to go buy a house and you don't want to sell your ETH. You put your ETH into this thing, you take a loan out for $450,000. There's no taxes now because there's no taxes on loans. So you just take that loan out and now you just got 450K that you can go do whatever you want with. So you can go buy a house, and as long as you don't get liquidated, you've basically just been able to take value out of the system in the form of a stable coin, right? And that coin, everything else that you interact with in the real world is in the denomination of that stable coin. So as long as you don't get liquidated, you're fine, right? As long as the price of ETH, whatever the price you put it in an ETH in, as long as you don't go below the 110% collateral ratio, you're good. You could also do it, and then you could provide symmetric liquidity on a DEX, right? So you could say, hey, I want to pair my USDL and some USDC because I know people are going to be swapping between these, and they both have the same dollar value. So you're not going to suffer from any impermanent loss, because when people are trading back, you're just going to get fees. They're both pegged to $1. So when you pull out your liquidity, you're going to get back the exact same plus all the fees. So you could do that if you wanted to do symmetric liquidity providing. I'm sure there's a bunch of other things you could do with it as well, but there is value to having something that is equivalent to $1, but you just have to be, you have to start getting really creative to figure out what those things are.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and I've never thought of USDC as money. I thought of it as like, oh, that's like crypto dollars. Yay, like I can have some fun with that. But you're absolutely right, and especially now with like Coinbase is saying things like your USD wallet and your USDC wallet are the same now. And I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing over in Coinbase's headquarters to make that a reality? Like, I'm just thinking like, what? Who made trillions of dollars in that handshake for your USD wallet and your USDC wallet to be the same in Coinbase? Yeah. It's not computing with me. I'm like, that's where I'm like, oh, fire's getting a little too hot. I'm gonna step back on that one and see what's going on. But I don't know. Crypto's getting weird in a crazy good / crazy weird way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jesse, you're not involved in the degeneracy anymore. I think you learned your lesson from Tron.
Oh yeah, Tron was awesome. Saw $80,000 go down to like 4K or something like that. I was like, wow,
just
that was amazing.
Huh.
Yeah, I was posting with Joe like a long time ago, like 2018 or something, and then we were like Tron buddies.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse / more freeing than seeing a wallet go from a lot to a little, right? It's like
it was slow, right?
Times.
It was slow, so it was like
yeah,
it wasn't like for instance, people who trade with leverage, it's like they have like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then boom, it's gone, and then they owe back. Like
It's like that South Park episode.
And it's gone.
And
Yep.
it's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, going back to the whole, what's Maker going to do about DAI? I have no idea, because I don't know if they control who provides the counterparty or the assets that back DAI. I don't know if they can, if they monitor that, or if it's something in the contract that they have to upgrade the contract and say, hey, no more adding USDC, only removing. I don't know if they have a proxy contract where they can actually upgrade DAI, or what. I don't know how DAI works, from a technical standpoint, but I don't know if they'll ever be able to pull the USDC out of there. But that would really mess DAI up if Circle just decided, boop, we're turning off all this collateral, because then all of a sudden the value of DAI would just drop by 30-some%. It would be just it would basically do what Terra started doing.
It would destroy DAI. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of different entities that have interactions with Tornado Cash, right? Like Gitcoin, I think, was one of the addresses that was blacklisted.
Yep.
We got some clips in this episode. Let them roll.
Maker DAO does it have exposure to Tornado Cash?
Can we get a little bit of?
I'm sure everybody does.
Speak for yourself.
Can we do a little bit of
I'm talking about these big companies. Yeah, I'm sure Maker probably does. Aave probably does. I mean, Alicia mentioned that MetaMask does. I'm sure even Coinbase probably has some connection to it somehow. Probably Shapeshift was probably hooked into there somehow. I mean, I'm sure a lot of things are touching it, because it's an interesting technology, right? It's not necessarily only used for bad. If you want to, if you have a bunch of employees and you want to pay them and you don't want to know who's getting paid what, you can run it just through Tornado Cash, right? If you're paying everybody 1 ETH a month, you just put 4 1 ETH things in Tornado Cash to the outgoing addresses, and then come back in 2 weeks, and then boop, 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 pop them out and just pay people, and then nobody knows who got paid what.
Is that how you pay people,
Joe? Me? No, I pay people the old school way with a bank account and check.
I do it the old legal way.
but that's how, if you were going to pay people with Tornado Cash, that's what you would do, right?
Yeah.
Say hey, I'm paying you, let's just say 1 ETH every 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
You would just load up all that ETH, all those 1 ETH chunks, or you could do it with USDC as well, but they froze all the USDC. So the Tornado Cash mixer supports multiple currencies. So you would have to pick the right currency. But if you did it with ETH, you could just do 1 ETH blocks, and then you could just send them out, weeks later or whatever. And they're going to get mixed with all the other people that put 1 ETH blocks in there.
So I just want to revisit this. Theoretically, Circle can just turn off that USDC that DAI holds. Just turn it off, and then all of a sudden, the DAI drops to 65 cents.
What if that's BlackRock's play? It's jointly with Circle, they're we're gonna short the whole ecosystem and then just inject a ton of money through Coinbase.
Circle
there you
is
go.
attached to Tornado Cash.
No.
Circle what?
Yeah.
Circle's attached to Tornado Cash.
Yeah, Alicia just posted a link in the chat. Yeah, you know what's interesting? Even going back to the whole ETHW conversation, right? If there is a proof of work version of Ethereum, it's going to have a copy of all of the contracts that exist on proof of stake Ethereum. So all of those coins, Circle could just go to the proof of work Ethereum and just be boop, and shut down all of the USDC on ETH work. So anything that was ever backed by, they could basically break everything, right? Anything, because it doesn't make if there's a copy, just because there's a copy on the chain, that doesn't mean that copy is still valid over in the new world, right? It's not all the dollars got copied; they just copied the state of everything else.
So
Circle could just log it.
Yeah,
they could just go to ETHW, and then just press a button and invalidate all the coins, right? So, and then think about everything that breaks, right? that would break anybody who's using like Aave, DAI, Compound, Uniswap. If you have any pairs, any LP positions that are like USDC and something else, those all get evaporated. You know,
I remember D played with that a long time ago. Remember
Oh,
that?
with DeFi?
Yeah, remember when
It
you
wasn't that
introduced
long ago.
liquidity to USDC and ETH? It was like in 2019.
Yeah,
Right?
it was last year. I did
Oh,
it
was
from
it last
birthday.
year?
I did it from birthday to birthday, and then the whole year you were like, "You should have just kept it in ETH, bro. You're fucking stupid." And I was like, "I'm not stupid, man. I'm just
No, I
seeing
didn't
if
say
it
you were
works."
stupid. I was just like,
No,
I
you
don't think
didn't.
that's gonna.
That's what you said. It hurt my feelings.
No, I didn't say you're
But
stupid.
no kidding. You were like, you should have just left it in ETH. It would have been worth more. And you were right. I would have gotten like an extra $2,500 or something. I used
think
a
I
very
did that
small amount of money.
calculation.
I think you did do that calculation. I
Yeah,
think
I
you
was
guys
the
are
one that did
both
the calculation.
telling me that I would have just made more
It's
if I
not
kept my
good.
money in ETH.
Well, so here's the funny thing. I actually went and tried your demo again just to make sure that it was that impermanent loss was actually a thing, and I also lost money. So
Yeah, I did. $2,500 is how much I lost, and I was like, "Damn, that could have been a really nice."
I don't. Well, yeah, I lost
Desk.
money on a test net. So,
know.
but I'll tell you guys privately how much I
Joe's
lost.
like, I didn't lose real money.
Man,
It would. Yeah, it could have been, but yeah.
that
With
was,
the
Go
with the
ahead.
merge, with what Joe's saying, with Circle being able to shut down all these contracts, they basically would be eliminating their competition because it would be just Circle, and I know Circle has ties to Coinbase.
I don't think Circle would ever do that. I don't think. I mean that is a systemic risk, but then so could Tether. Like Tether
It's-
could have done that from like a long time ago. Since God, what
I
was
don't
the
think
exchange
Tether
in
has the
finance?
same institutional protections.
Bitress.
Circle.
Bitress.
But at the same time, Alicia, I think it's tantamount to like trying to take over 51% of the mining network of Bitcoin. It's like, yeah, you're going to get away with it, but once you permanently damage the thing that's printing money for you, it's no longer going to be a good money printer. You might
But
as
what
well
if
just
it's very
play by the
selective?
rules.
What if they just precision snipe?
I
Well,
think
that's
this
what
is
they're
a
doing
precision
right now.
snipe.
Tornado
Yeah.
Cash was a
It
golden
was
eye
very precision snipe,
007.
and they're testing the
won't get
waters
killed.
right now. So
I
who
don't-
would
I-
be next?
I think Ethereum as a whole ecosystem would lose a ton of credibility to its decentralization, and people would totally like jump out.
Well, it's not right now with Tornado Cash because you have people saying, "Well, I wasn't using that service, so I don't care."
Right,
That's
but like if
why I'm
somebody
here
turns
for
off USDC for like some major blockchains, like for instance, say they turn off USDC on Tron,
Yeah.
that's not going to end up really well for anybody.
Uh-huh.
That's going to be like billions of dollars lost.
There's got to be articles about how stables are like the Trojan horse of crypto.
Joe, let me ask you this question. Where would you go for the least counterparty risk?
Radio Shack.
Radio Shack.
It
Radio
can't be
Shack.
Avalanche. It can't be Ethereum. Like
You know, Radio
Well,
Shack
well,
is a
I
DeFi
mean-
exchange.
I mean, for what are you talking?
Obviously, it's
in
not
what
Solana.
sense?
I'm
Like,
not
I-
shitting.
like you're trying to go to a chain that has validator.
I mean,
or
Ethereum.
like, you know,
Ethereum is fine. It's just that there are projects on Ethereum that are going to have more counterparty risk, and there are projects on Ethereum that are going to have less. Like today, I was just thinking, you know, if you're trying to like extract your value, like let's say you're thinking like, hey, when ETHW, if and when ETHW starts up, right? You want to
Mhm.
basically say, let's say you have like 100, Joe coins, and they get copied over to ETHW, and you're like, I want to take these Joe coins out at whatever. Let's say they're each worth a penny, right? So you got $1, you want to take this stuff out. If you're today, I think Chainlink announced that they're not going to support ETHW, right? So that means that like Aave breaks and Compound breaks because they both use Chainlink oracles as price feeds. So if you're going to take your money out, then you want to make sure that your LP isn't something that doesn't have counterparty risk. So you'd have to take your LP out of Aave or Compound and put it into Uniswap. So that way, when the copy happens and Aave and Compound don't work, you can still get your stuff back out, right?
Yep.
So there is so there's there's counterparty risk at multiple levels, right? It could be, do you want to be able to do swaps, or do you want to be able to just send? Because sending is still going to work. It's just that the values, all of the things that determine value on ETH, or a lot of the things that determine value on ETH, are going to be broken. Whether they're broken by a company turning off whatever the other side of the thing backing that value is, which could be like Circle turning off USDC with DAI, or with or on a DEX, right? Or it could be whether if a Chainlink Oracle if a Chainlink Oracle is not updating the price feed in some DeFi protocol, and all of a sudden the prices are all messed up. It could be that. The chain is still going to run. The chain is still going to process blocks, but the thing that you thought had value may not have the same value on this other chain, and it may not matter. Like when I think Bitcoin is like a much simpler system. So when Bcash forked off of Bitcoin, there's no DeFi anything. It's just like you just copy all the UTXO transaction sets, and you can just
I
all you can do
remember
is send
selling
on
all
Bitcoin
my
and-
Bitcoin Cash for like $300-$400 as fast as possible and moving it to
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, so you sold it to Roger, basically, right? So, but Ethereum is so much more complicated than
You're
just being able to send. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I honestly have no idea what's going to happen. I think whatever the chain that the post merge chain that's going to be proof of stake, I think is going to have an advantage, because I think that's where all the momentum is going. It seems like everybody on Twitter is all about that. There's obviously a small subset of people that want this ETH chain to go, but it's like, when Roger wanted, Bcash to be a thing, he kept it going, but the value is 1/8 or 1/5 the value of actual.
Do you guys remember seeing that shit go live and seeing the value of Bcash go up like by thousands of dollars an hour? And I was like, oh my God, it's happening. And at that moment in time, I was like frozen. I was like, to sell or not to sell, to buy or not to buy. And I was like, I'm just going to go to bed and hope everything's good in the morning. And I was like, oh, cool. Bcash didn't win. I'm good.
Yeah, it went up to I remember it was like 6K on Coinbase. Like it went crazy.
I was like,
absolutely crazy.
It's happening.
And it's a crime that Coinbase has gotten away with. Another one.
That is pretty crazy.
Coinbase has so many coins.
Cash.
Yeah.
I feel like
all it.
Well, more like inside trading. I know they caught somebody recently, and that's their sacrificial lamb. But that whole Bitcoin Cash thing.
They have all the Ethereum airdrops.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, I think Brian Armstrong is taking the opposite approach to Zuckerberg, and where he's buddying up early, and he's gonna get all the power and stuff that goes along with what he's built, but he's just staying he's not in the limelight. Doesn't need to be talking about whack ass Meta every other week. He's just kind of laying low, making those evil deals in the back rooms with Uncle Sam, and just letting it ride. I think Brian Armstrong is doing evil right.
That's why he can get away with not hitting his percentage goal for the quarter.
Oh yeah, he did it swift too. He hopped on the mic real quick. He was like, "Oh man, we had some losses. Let me hop on the mic real quick. Look, guys, it's gonna be ups and downs. Coinbase is, not immune to that. Put your money in. I'm out." And he dropped the mic and he rolled out. I think Armstrong
like 20% of their workforce. Like all the major crypto companies
I saw a scary Twitter thread where someone was like, "I just got hired by Coinbase and now I'm fired by Coinbase." And I was like, "Oh, that sucks, man. I'm sorry. That sucks for you."
All right. Do we have any last minute sentiments to get out?
Oh man.
This
is the second to last episode. I can't believe this is like we're not doing the Bitcoin podcast anymore. It's kind of crazy. I don't know what I might still do it behind you and Corey's back.
Yeah.
Because I can't let it go. It's like a part of my psyche.
I'll join you.
I've talked to a therapist about it. No.
Wow.
No, I haven't. But I might. No, 400 episodes. Let's see. We interviewed Roger Ver 3 times. Called him out twice. What else? What else did we do? We had the Fox.
I feel like I wasn't here for the cool interviews before everybody made cool stuff because like I got here in 2017, right? Like a lot of the cooler stuff happened like 2014 to 2017.
Yeah,
You know?
there was I wouldn't say it's cool stuff. It was just people were still finding the constraints.
Like I don't have any stories that was like that are like I was in New York with the developers of, you know, whatever, like a Shapeshift or whatever, or OpenSea or whatever, you know. I don't have any of those stories. I would like some of those
I ate
stories.
a great Japanese dinner in Mexico with the My Crypto team. That was good. That was a good one.
What happened with Vitalik there?
Oh my god, do you remember that story? This was
Yep.
Jesus. I tried to talk to. That was an interesting conference. That was a conference when things were like buzzing, and I saw Vitalik talking to a bunch of people. So I was like, "Oh, this is great! I'm gonna get a little sound clip for the podcast that we have to do in the hotel later tonight." And I was just like standing there in line, and then like when I thought it was my turn to talk, uh, I'll never fucking forget this. So I was like, "Hey, Vitalik, what's up, man?" He goes, "Excuse me, I'm having a conversation." And I was like, "God damn, bro, I'm standing here too, like everybody else. Like I'm trying to talk to you too." And I was like, "All right, I guess." And everybody looked at me like, "Fucking asshole, get out of here." And I was like, so I just go and like I'm sitting on like the curb, and Corey comes up. He's like, "What's up, man?" I was like, "Man, Vitalik's a fucking dick, man. That's what's up." He was like, "What happened?" I was like, "He just shunned me away like I was a fucking parrot. I don't know. It was weird." And that was the story.
Dang.
That was, yeah.
Is
And
he
that's
like that though?
I think he's a little spectrumy. That's what I was saying at the beginning of the show. I think I like fucked with his vibe because I wasn't like in the right spot in line. I was just like right, just a little off to the right.
Maybe you went too fast. You went too early. He wasn't ready for you.
Yeah, I moved too fast. But
Have
and
you ever
then
talked to them, Joe? Like Vitalik or anybody?
No,
Like, in person?
I saw Charles Hoskinson at Consensus. He's eating breakfast.
I had coffee with Vitalik's dad though. Vitalik's dad's pretty cool. And then what's his name? The dude, the Shapeshift guy. The guy that decentralized his company before the government came after him. Voorhees.
Eric
This
Voorhees.
dude rolled into. I was like sitting in the back, and he rolled in like after Vitalik started talking, like all in the dark. So I guess he wouldn't make a scene. And he like rolls in with like 2 supermodels, and I'm like, classic. I get it. You're worth billions. And he just like sits down, and he takes out a notebook and crosses his legs and takes like 2 notes, and then just walks right back out. And I was like, that was weird. That was really weird. I don't know. Just crypto was interesting back then. And Tether's been exploding since like 2016 for everybody wondering not wondering what's going on there. Like even back in 2016, people were like, Tether's going to bring it all down, man. Tether,
Wasn't it before then?
It was before then.
Yeah, because Tether started off on the Omni network, like as a place for Bitcoiners to get liquidity for their Bitcoin.
An exchange made it, right?
I thought it was Bittrex. Bittrex made it when they.
I thought it was Bitstamp.
No, it was Bittrex.
Really?
They lost a lot of money, and then they created Tether to pay back all of those customers, I believe. I could be wrong.
No,
Bittrex,
really?
Tether. Let's see. Bittrex will be swapping from the Omni-based implementation of USDT to the ERC20-based implementation of USDT on the Ethereum network to bring our see, like I remember that. I was like, yeah, Tether is Bittrex, and Bittrex is in Washington, like in Washington State.
But Tether was overseas before.
No, it's Bitfinex.
Bitfinex. There we go.
Got me.
Golly,
yeah.
Yeah, in Hong Kong. Yeah, I think they were like severely hacked.
JK, I'm so wrong.
So after like 399 episodes, interviewing almost everyone in crypto except for Vitalik. We interviewed Vitalik's mom and Vitalik's dad, but not Vitalik. Corey's interviewed Vitalik. Let's see, we had 10 shows at one point. That was fun. it's hard to like recollect on everything that's happened over the years. We still
I
have a
think
lot
my
of you. Go
my
ahead.
favorite clip was McKibben's is saucy. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about those guys. McKibben's got so rich he became one with the energy. He's like straight up went to Puerto Rico and just is trying to start a country there based off of
He's an island boy.
pure positive energy. Oh, McKibben's. And then so
Wait, who's
McKibben's and Saucier were two marketers for a company called Ubiquity.io.
Oh, okay. Vaguely remember that name.
Me and Cello got a little twisty, and we were like, "It sounds like a buddy cop movie." And then so we just started singing this song, McKibben's and Saucier, and then I got extreme. I was like, "Saucier," yeah, and he was like, "Fuck it, this is too funny. We're gonna make a theme song out of it." So then we hired a guy on Fiverr to listen to us and make a song out of it. And then we played the song when they came on. And they were like, that's the greatest thing that anyone's ever done for us. And we're like, yeah, you guys sound like, buddy cops, like Lethal Weapon. And for like, we had them on for like 3 years in a row. And it was always like the McKibbens and Saucier show. They're both, they made their Bitcoin. They did their thing. They're probably in like Puerto Rico chilling as well.
What about you, Joe? Why don't you own California at this point?
I don't want to own California. I like living here, but I don't want to own it.
I remember I used to make jokes with you like over the past few years. It's like, all right, when are you gonna buy like just everything, and then we'll all just have little homes.
I will buy land on Joe Island. I swear.
Joelandia.
Joelandia.
No, I do want to start an SEZ, but not in the United States.
What's an SEZ?
Special economic zone.
Yeah.
Like Dubai or Monaco or Panama.
Hong Kong used to be.
Can I build my school
before it was a
board? Yeah.
I got a life journey to build a school.
I mean, you're gonna have to build it where I'm building the SEZ, but yeah.
Where do you plan on sticking that?
I want to do it somewhere in West Africa, like basically between like Guinea
I'm fucking
and like Nigeria.
Sorry. Excuse my language.
So,
between Guinea and Nigeria?
Yeah. Where I'm thinking is between Cote d'Ivoire or like Ivory Coast and Accra. Or sorry, not Accra, Ghana. There's like a little bit of space like right there on the border. And I think if I can get
I'm in
100 square miles.
You're saying all the right words.
How much does it cost to start that up?
What?
Oh, it's going to be really expensive.
Ghana and Nigeria are not big, strong men to protect you like all the other places. Monaco's got Europe, Hong Kong.
You don't need protection.
You need protection when you're doing that. You have to have the shadow of, hey, I just called my big friend to come over.
You need a silver tongue and grit.
Yeah.
You do. I mean, Nigeria is coming up, but they still got a mess that they're dealing with internally. And Ghana is just recovering. So who's going to be your big strong man? Is it going to be China? Because China's in Africa.
Probably.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I know one thing. My niece and nephew are in a school that is requiring them to learn Mandarin at the same time they learn English.
Good.
Requiring them. Yeah. I was like, holy shit. That's telling. I was like, they better not try to talk no shit to old Uncle D in some Mandarin because I will whoop that ass. No, I'm kidding. I'm too young.
But yeah, that's my show. If I was going to start something, it would be over there.
Okay. Cool. I got to build my school on Chinese dime. No, that's, well, what else can we reminisce on? Jesse, when did you even start listening to the show to get involved with this fucking?
I only listened to like 2 podcasts, if that. And then I just joined the Slack because it was like, join the Slack. And I'm like, yeah, I want to talk to people. And then I joined it. Yeah. I didn't listen to the podcast like much, if at all. I was just here for everybody in the Slack because it was way cooler.
I've got a theory that like not a lot of people listen to a lot of episodes. Like I feel like there's a very few Joes and Waynes out there.
Yeah.
But like I think most people catch like 5 and then they're like,
Did you really listen to all the original episodes, Joe?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I used to walk to work.
Damn, Jesse.
Yeah.
I used to walk to work. So when I was working at Uber, I lived probably like 3 miles away from my office, and I would just walk to work. And on my walk in, it was about an hour. So I would listen to podcasts, but I was also, like I first got introduced to Bitcoin in 2013, and I really started getting excited about it when I got to Pennsylvania. So in my walk, I needed something that would like fill that time. And I think I came in at like episode 25 or 30, but then I wanted to go back and listen to some of the old episodes. And I was listening to other stuff on my walks and back from work. So it was just like the entertainment factor of D, Cello, and Corey together. And then also the fact that, they were very exploratory, right? Like you would learn about stuff like lawnmower. I mean, like all these things are like dead and gone now, but
Yeah.
it was like the lawnmower app, which was like the first version of Celsius, right? But before it like went away, right? And there were all these old apps that have been out forever. And it was just, I was listening because they were asking a lot of questions from the standpoint of, we don't even know what's going on and we're trying to figure it out. And I was in the same boat, right? I remember they talked to like some adult actress or somebody who was like using crypto to get paid. Yeah. And so they were just talking to anybody who's trying to do anything with crypto whatsoever. And it was almost this like, what is this thing even good for? Like, what is this used for? I think it's the same question that a lot of people ask today, but they were asking it from the perspective of talking to other people and figuring out, what do you use it for? What do you use it for? What do you use it for? And the interviews were obviously entertaining because, D, Corey, and Cello had a really great chemistry together in terms of like, you have like the technical analysis side of Corey because he was getting his PhD living in Brazil. And then you had like the producty side of Cello. And then you had the, analytical and mathematical calculating side of D. And then all of them have their own like perspective on comedy. So it was just entertaining to walk to work and listen to, and it wasn't boring. Like I remember like walking down the street and I would just be laughing, and people are like, somebody's walking by me like, what's so funny? I'm like, I mean, I can't really explain it. You have to, you missed episode 7 when this joke started, and now we're here like episode 40 and the joke's still going, right? So it was something where like it helped me build that. Like I feel like I know D, Corey, and Cello, like they're like my boys that I've known forever, even though they don't know me like that, right?
Yeah.
Because I've listened to so many episodes. I have like so much insight into their life that they just shared through like their time in crypto.
Yeah, man. Cello was holding his baby for the first like 100 episodes of the show. Like he would record with his daughter right next to him, and so he'd have to mute and unmute, and it was good times.
I remember.
So
Cello was.
It was just. Okay, yeah.
No, Cello was really cool. Like I remember buying him a rice cooker back in like the bull run in 2017, like a multi cooker thing. Because
talked about that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just it was entertaining. I remember talking when they were going through like the whole Litecoin mining phase, when they were building their Litecoin miners and getting everything spun up and learning about mining, and Litecoin was like a couple of bucks at the time, I think. And I remember
I thought
going through that whole phase.
Thought I was retiring in 2 years because of Litecoin. We were mining that shit. I had so much. I was like, Litecoin, it's the future.
Yeah, and then I think like Corey had a hard drive or something that he found with some Litecoin, or one of you had a hard drive that you found that had some Litecoin on it that you thought you had lost or something. It was just like it was very much an exploratory. This is a new space. We're like trying to figure out what's going on. It's like if you get to a new city and you don't know what to do, and you're like asking people questions. You're like, oh, where's the best place to eat? And blah, blah, blah. Like now it's like, well, that place sucks, and those food's good, and that place is shut down 3 times. And like now we've been here for a long enough time where, we have like opinions, and we won't even touch certain things. We'll be like, oh, that's going to be a rug pull, and that's a VC chain. And there's like more context. But back then, it was just, nobody knew anything.
You could explore.
Exploratory. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. So, like with the new podcast that we're doing, like we're revamping, hashing it out, and we're bringing a more technical focus to at least the major show. We're still going to have the personals interview. We're still going. We actually have a separate segment called Flash Hash where we talk about the newsy kind of stuff, and it'll be like more rambunctious than the main show, which is more nitty gritty technical exploration of what's really going on under the hood. Does that appeal to you as a long term listener of TBP?
That latter thing sounds like just the headers.
It is. I think it's going to be exactly like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the thing, I would classify myself as a lifelong learner. So for me, I think the thing that really is exciting about listening to any podcast is just if I learn something new, right? Like if I can get on and, you've found some new information about, oh, this is happening or that's happening, that gets me excited because I'm like, oh, I didn't know that before. And that's what was happening with a lot of the early stuff. It was just, I didn't know that before. So, and I think right now there are way more new things happening now than there were back then, right? You've got
That's for
like
sure.
100 alt L1s,
Yep.
that you can drill into. You've got all these DeFi things that you can drill into. You've got all this stuff that you can try to understand about how, Circle is trying to do what they're trying to do, how Tornado Cash works. And even just like explaining to people how Tornado Cash works. A lot of people will probably be like, well, what's Tornado Cash? How does it work? And having like a conversation around how the mixing service works. What happens when you put your tokens in and how it rotates and how it can, having those types of conversations, I think is super, is what really is what gets me excited about listening to podcasts, and having an entertaining commentary around it, I think helps as well. So,
yeah.
And your podcast is older than like, I mean, I listen to this all the time, but I also listen to a bunch of other podcasts, and this podcast has been around way, way longer than anything else I listen to, right? So,
yeah, it's weird to sunset it, quite honestly, but it's hard to talk about just Bitcoin because there's so much going on outside of Bitcoin. Even though Bitcoin is very, I don't know, it's very complex, but at the end of the day, Bitcoin, quote unquote, is winning when it comes to being whatever the hell it is. So it's like there's not much to talk about anymore. I mean, like that moment struck me just last week. I was talking to Jesse about this. I was somewhere looking at a TV randomly, and MSNBC was on. Not MSNBC, CNBC. The money is it CNBC? CNBC. Which one's the money show?
I think it's CNBC.
CNBC
I
was
was
on.
wrong about Bittrex earlier, so I don't trust myself anymore.
Instead of stock tickers rolling across the bottom, AAPL, FD, instead of stock tickers, it was like crypto tokens running across the bottom. And the first one was Bitcoin, always. And I was like, huh, okay, well, I guess it's there. I guess if CNBC cares enough to keep it pinned on the TV screen, then crypto must be doing something right. So,
even to that, I would say I have a couple of people that have introduced me to some stuff in Bitcoin that I think is actually very, very interesting. But there's very few people. Yeah, there's very few people that talk about it. Like there's some very interesting stuff in BSV around like how they're thinking about doing smart contracts and stuff like that. This last week, I was listening to a Twitter space, and it was something about like it was Bitcoin maximalists. The whole theme was like Bitcoin maximalists were having like their like come to Jesus moment, and what does it mean to be maximalist, and what does money mean, and all this stuff. But the people that were chatting back and forth were actually talking about a couple of technologies that I thought were super interesting as like Bitcoin layer 2s that they're talking about building, right? And so I think there were like 3 or 4 Bitcoin layer 2s that are being worked on right now. I don't remember what the names of any of them are, but I thought that was interesting as a conversation because you don't hear people talking about that. I would say the most layer 2 stuff I hear about is probably like Solana and Avalanche,
but those aren't layer 2s though. Solana is not a layer 2.
Sorry, not layer 2s.
Like Optimism, Arbitrum. You know that. Yeah, I know
Optimism,
you know.
Arbitrum. Yeah. But then in terms of like other chains, I hear about like Solana, Avalanche, stuff like that, and then Terra when it was, or Luna when it was running. But I think there are lots of very interesting things happening in different niche communities, and it's almost like there's so much going on, and there's so much to talk about. But most people are kind of like focused in on like I only talk about like EVM chains. Like if you listen to, like Bankless is pretty much just all EVM stuff. Or if you listen to like Proof or whatever, it's all NFT stuff, and it's basically Solana and Ethereum. And there's lots of interesting things that are happening all over the space. It's just got to dig into all this stuff, and it's a lot. There's a lot happening.
Something that's different that wasn't happening before is you said you used to work at Uber. I know that, but now you don't. And that means that you are really digging through all of the, crypto related content as it pertains to what you're currently doing. And so when I say that, you, like, for instance, the product that you're working on, I don't know if you're still doing Atomize, but like you have to learn about a bunch of different L1s, because you were like the point of Atomize, at least at one point, it was to create, like, be the one-stop solution for simplifying creation of NFTs, creation of, DAOs and whatnot. Is in terms of like even the newer L1s that are coming out, like we know Aptos and Sui are coming out, and they are really focused on NFTs. Is that really what's coming again?
Yeah, so we pivoted like kind of our pitch of what we're doing for what we're building, but I think the question still stands. Even for what we're doing, is that going to matter on these new chains, right? And there's still I think these new chains still have to kind of prove themselves, right? Like I was just talking to a couple of my friends earlier today, and you've got like I had a whole bunch of friends, a lot of friends that were like, "Oh, we're moving to Solana. We're building on Solana." They quit their jobs at like Google and Facebook and all these tech companies, and they all tried to they went to all these Solana hackathons, got grants, and started building and hacking on all these things. And then now they're all going back to work, right? And so I think there's still a window of proving that you have to prove that the chain is actually going to be able to sustain you if you want to work on it.
I have a buddy who rubbed so hard on Solana that he's okay for a few years. Like,
yeah. I mean, you could be fine. And I know people that have been very successful going in and out of Solana as well. But it's just in mass, right? They need to be able to attract and then sustain the group of people that they attract. And so it's going to be interesting to see if these new chains that are backed by the same investors are going to be able to do that, right? Because if the technology falters,
they're both it's Facebook again, just smaller.
Well, the people that built Solana weren't from Facebook.
No. What I'm saying is Aptos and Sui. Aptos and Sui largely are ex-Facebook employees who worked on DM, right? Or Libra.
Yeah.
That's part of DM.
Yeah. So
before DM pivoted,
Yeah. So hopefully,
I think there's just so much. Sorry, go ahead.
Execute.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, hopefully they'll be able to execute.
Like I look at something like, I just don't even know what some of this stuff means. Like I was joking, but not. Like Radio Shack has a crypto exchange, and that's what it is now. And they do millions in volume, and I'm just like, what is going on? And people are trading and using Radio Coin, kind of like the same way they were using Binance token to like get less fees, or however Binance token was working back in like 2018, where if you were using Binance token, you get less fees or something like that. It's like the same thing. And Radio Shack, like the Radio Shack, is trying to make a decentralized exchange. And it's just like, what? It's like if you just now play the game, right? If you got a marketer that's good enough and you can play that game, then you will make some money. It might not be this world-changing stuff that people in Ethereum are going after and people in Avalanche are going after. But you're going to make some scratch. You're going to make some scratch by getting those transaction fees. So it's just man, like Solana doesn't work. We all see it doesn't work, but people are just pouring money in and out of this thing every single day. And
I mean,
same goes. Go ahead.
ETH had a lot of problems at the beginning as well, right? It's just that I feel like when ETH had problems, the whole space was so tiny that we kind of like
you brush it under the rug.
All these problems that Solana has, ETH had them also. It's just, I mean, obviously there's like the DAO is the biggest thing that people remember, but there was tons of issues with ETH back in the day.
But that wasn't the chain went offline, right? That's what's happening to
Solana. Yeah.
7 times.
No, ETH did have periods where the chain, like, it didn't go offline, but there have been times where lots of the chain has been stopped, and that's even relatively recently. Like 50% of the chain has been like effectively offline. So it has the same problems. It's just that, again, nobody really talks about that because a lot of that stuff happened like way back in the day. There weren't that many people on there. You know, everybody's an engineer or like, you know, early adopter, and they're like, oh, this is fine. But now at scale, when you try to bring a new system on and you're trying to, you know, migrate over, you know, let's say ETH has 30 million users and they heard that this other thing is cheaper, faster, better. They go over there.
Polygon.
And when you jump on it and it just falls down because it's just starting it has a different starting point.
There were some issues with Bitcoin too. In the very, very beginning, when Satoshi was basically fucking around with his own shit. When he was like, when there was like infinity Bitcoin, and he was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, somebody minted. Yeah, there was there was an underflow, unsigned integer underflow error, and they minted an extra like 2 billion Bitcoin or something like that, and they had to roll the chain back.
They're like, we're just gonna fix this real quick while nobody's paying attention, and then we're gonna keep it going. Yeah. Like, so it's just, I don't know. Crypto's come far. It's got so long to go. Or if you're calling, you think it should die in a fire right now today. You think it needs to stop, and people need to get back to business.
Last year he was like, "Oh, like Avalanche is the only thing that matters," and now he's like, "Not even Avalanche matters. It's all garbage.
Throw it all away." Well, what are we fucking doing, guys?
Yeah.
He made every morning I wake up and read the Slack, and it's like, okay, I guess I'm a lemming again. I don't know, Colin. I don't know, but here's what's gonna be funny, Colin. Listen to my words if you're listening. When Avalanche goes up to like $200 in Avalanche in like 4 years, don't try to come up in the Slack talking that shit, or I swear to God, I will buy premium, which will cost us like $4,000. I will buy it just to get your old messages out, and I will repost them just so people can see.
We're going to be on status by then.
It'll take Avalanche 4 years to get to 200.
I think this is going to be an extended bear market. It's going to go sideways and boring for a really, really long time because everybody knows about it. Crypto's not new. Like, my aunts are calling about it. Uncles are calling about it. Fucking Matt, fucking Damon.
What about the halvening? The halvening pump.
Yeah, the halvening.
I think even the halvening is usually it's about 6 to 8 months right after the halvening when the price starts going bananas. I think it's going to be longer. I think it's going to be a year. It's going to be like 12 straight months of just – it's just going to go flat because what new buyers –
still the halvening?
I think that like –
I don't know. We can Google it.
Yeah, it's around the corner.
May 2024. So a little bit under 2 years.
So now would be a good time to start averaging in, I guess.
Not financial advice.
Yeah, hashtag not financial advice. Hashtag
help you out there.
Don't I want to know who's ever been sued for like accidentally giving financial advice. Like, how does that go?
Crypto or in the real world?
Like in the real world, how does that go? If you're like, man, like now would be a pretty good time to, buy a bunch of Twinkies, and then like if somebody does it and they screw themselves, and then they sue you because of what you said, like, has that ever happened? I just want to know, like, so it has to have happened because now you have to say this is not financial advice. But it's kind of a dick move, right? If I'm like, oh, this guy told me to go buy a bunch of red herrings. I was gonna make a killing during hurricane season, and I didn't.
I think it's probably like legacy from, whatever the pink sheets days were when people were calling people and on the phone and being like, hey, buy this thing, or, I suggest you put your money into this thing. And probably a bunch of people got busted then, and now we're in that same spot.
I actually have a question for you, Joe, before we wrap up. Well, 2 questions. My first question is, when you were doing that first project, I think last year, where you were like catching all these, I think it was token list, right? Token launch.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
token launch. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you gather about people / Ethereum from seeing that happen? Like all these people launching tokens day in and day out that are essentially worthless. Like, what did you learn from that experience? Because I thought it was token launch was pretty dope. I was like, I had it pinned to my browser and I was looking and I was like, damn, it's like a new token every fucking hour.
I was like, Joe's gonna make even more money.
I mean, I think it was just that people were just making stuff, right? It was like they were just spamming the chain with coins, right? They'd make like Pulse Doge, Pulse Elon, Pulse Shiba, or like, this, that, they would just Elon Moon, Elon Musk, Doge. It was just people were just making stuff because it's so simple. Once you have a smart contract deploying code to just deploy the same thing and literally just change the name and the symbol and then redeploy it. So people were just throwing stuff out and they were just kind of spamming the chain with stuff, hoping that they could get enough liquidity somewhere where it would catch off, and they were thinking they were going to be like the next Shiba, basically when people wanted to be the next Shiba. And it was very high noise, very low signal. So that's kind of what I learned is like, if you're trying to go after people that are creating coins, you want to make sure that they're serious, and people that are serious are usually going to do more work than just creating an ERC20 and launching it. They're going to probably, have a treasury, have a wallet, have some sort of blog where they talk about what they're trying to build. Maybe have some voting stuff on, Snapshot or some other governance platform. Maybe they have like an NFT collection that is tied to that voting contract. So usually the people that are legitimate, that are trying to actually build something legitimate, just have they put more effort into it than just launching a token, without a website and without all this extra stuff around, without trying to build a brand, I would say. So that was, I think, the learning lesson that we got from building that, which is why that's what our new product is more focused around. That is the brand that you build, and building that brand and owning that brand on chain.
That's the pivot, the second pivot of Atomize now. That's why you're asking everybody for their .eth ENS name. Okay.
Yeah. What was the second question?
I was gonna say, in 10 words or less, can you describe the Bitcoin podcast?
Best show on earth.
You're just saying that because you're here right
Clip
now.
it. It's too late. Stop. Don't interrupt him.
Okay.
Don't interrupt him.
Do you want to do it again?
Now you got it.
Best show on earth. That's what I'm talking
Best
about.
show on earth.
And all
And you notice I didn't say it's not even crypto show. It's literally just the best show on earth.
Hell yeah.
I think it's because like it's a bunch of like community people. Like we some people in Slack, like you guys have met up physically at conferences, and everybody's pretty chill, even though you may have like some weird people, I guess. But
I've met like Lucian, Colin, Andy, Mike, Corey, who else?
Lucian's the world's most interesting man. That dude.
Lucian is amazing. Amazing.
That dude could rock velvet.
Him and I went to Consensus. Yo, it was amazing. Lucian's amazing.
He's the type of dude that's gonna wear like a velvet jacket somewhere, like, and smoking the longest marijuana cigarette. And he is like the world's most interesting man.
Oh, I met Mackie.
That's meetup.
He's cool. Yeah. Who else? Yeah, I met a few people. I still haven't met either of you two though, or either of you three, I should say.
There was
you haven't
one,
met D?
not in person. Not in
Dang.
person. It's
Alright.
gonna happen though. It's gonna
D
happen
used to
soon.
live near where I used to live, where my parents lived in Virginia.
Okay.
And so, but then he moved and I moved. So now
Yeah.
I'm far.
Are you in California still?
Me,
No,
yeah.
man, why are you doxing him
Okay.
like that?
I mean, it's a whole state with like
It's so easy to
tens of
find.
millions.
It's so easy to figure out where I live. It's not even like hard. You should just Google Joe Blau and then go click on the first link. It probably says San Francisco, CA, somewhere like right underneath there. So
Oh, okay. Cool.
There was one person
Want to get lunch?
that I
I'll be
hope
there end of the we'll talk. We'll talk after.
we get to talk to again. I can't even remember his name. He like ghosted out of the Slack in the last bull run. He met with us down in Mexico at Consensus, or not Consensus, at DevCon. And we had dinner with him. He was such a cool dude, smart as shit. And like I just remember him leaning over and we were like 2 margaritas in, and he's just like, if they don't figure out a way to incentivize the telecom companies, this shit ain't going nowhere. And I was like, what? And he was like, I'm a consultant for all the big telecom people. Like, I know how this shit works, how these packets flow. If you don't incentivize AT&T, Verizon, them for a decentralized network, you're just going to get a centralized stack of shit on top of all this. And I was like, that is very wise, man. You want to come talk about it on the show? He's like, no, I just came here to see if I wanted to invest in anything, and it's all looks like kind of shit. So I'm gonna go back home. And he hasn't been in the Slack since. Like Corey knows him because Corey and him used to like talk all the time about like the heavy tech side of the networking aspect of blockchain. And he just dipped after that like night in Mexico. Wasn't in the Slack, didn't comment on anything. He was like, yeah, if you can't incentivize the telecoms, then they're not going to literally build the infrastructure for this stuff to work. So I was like, oh.
Well, that didn't turn out to be true.
I mean,
People
it's
just
working.
don't give a they don't
We'll
they don't
see.
care that it's still all centralized. Like they didn't redo like we have the topic coming up on networking for hashing it out that we're going to be recording soon.
Yeah.
I'd love somebody from Cisco or people who have been and they are intertwined with the networking hardware that powers everything in the United States. I'd be curious to have one of them on and just figure out where they're sitting in terms of like their perspective on, are they going to be disrupted at any point, or are they just like, yeah, they're all those people, they're software people, they don't know anything about trying to incentivize replacing us, like we're fine.
I think we should try to get someone on from Cisco.
That'd be pretty interesting.
I don't think that's going to get very far, honestly. I feel like they're all worried they're going to get laid off next week. So, no, I'm kidding.
They have a Cisco blockchain department.
Oh, they're getting laid off next week. Sorry, I'm kidding. It's not a recession, everyone. Everything's fine.
Yeah, the inflation went down 1%.
What are you talking about? Yeah, that's right.
It went down 1%. We're not in a recession.
Yeah, definitely not a recession. Definitely not gonna happen. Let's end the show on a good note. Shout out to old long neck, wide smile, Zoe Saldana. I see you, boo. Gonna be in the front row for this new Avatar movie you got coming out. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, it's gonna be pretty good. If you guys, this show's not sponsored by it or anything, but you should check it out. Avatar 2. Do we got any other shout outs? Or is that it? It's the only one? Kicking it old school, huh? We weren't ever able to get her on the show. That's kind of sad.
Try again, hashing it out.
Yeah.
I mean, only in Flash Hash, maybe.
She's never gonna come on our podcast. I know that for a fact. We're gonna have to really stretch to find the tangential lines that cross to get
I want
her
you to
on
keep
our
it going though. Like,
yeah. I only at this point I only want you on, Zoe, and I know you're not listening, but I'm gonna talk to you as if you are, just so I can say I've been giving you a shout out for like 5 years straight. And this, like, I'm an old man now. I got grays in my mustache, I got grays in my head, and I've been giving you shout outs every week for 5 years. That has to mean something. Just saying. All right. Play the outro.